Hey, it's Ted Drozdowski from Premier Guitar, and here we are talking to Matthew on the floor of SNAMM 2016. Matthew from Disaster Area Designs. He's going to tell us about his new DMC Gen 3. Fire it up, man.
All right, so we just introduced these just before Summer NAMM. This is our DMC Gen 3 series. So it's the same footprint, same sort of form factor as our DMC Gen 2, which have been really popular for us. But we've listened to customer feedback, and we've been keeping an eye on what's going on in the industry, and we've been trying to add features and functionality and modes that people are asking for. So in the Gen 3, we retained everything that was in the Gen 2. So all the stuff that was in there before, the preset mode, the scrolling modes, all that stuff, the looper control, it's all still available. You can turn it on and off exactly the same way as you did before. But we've added a new tap tempo and clock mode. So in this tap tempo mode, you can use the pedal to send taps out to your MIDI devices, and you can either send them as MIDI CC, which tells the pedal, hey, we just tapped you, or you can send it out as MIDI clock, which tells the pedal, hey, you need to follow along with this clock speed and stay in time. So you can set the clock mode to send out a global tap tempo, so you tap in and it stays on that tap tempo until you tap again. Or you can tell it to preset that tap tempo, and every time you go to a new preset, it'll load up the matching tempo and send that out to your devices. We've also got a new piece of hardware on this called the multi-jack. The multi-jack is something that we had on our smart clock, and we decided to improve it and bring it along for the ride. So the multi-jack is capable of acting like an expression pedal input, or a tap tempo foot switch input, or a MIDI output, which are all the things that it could do before. But we've added a new function that lets you flip some dip switches inside and allow it to act as a tap tempo output. So when you're in the tap tempo mode and you're saying, okay, time to send MIDI clock, it can also send tap signals, switch closures to a device like a DD7 or a Panther Cub, or really anything that'll accept a normally open or normally closed momentary switch, which is, by our estimation, 98% of the tap tempo devices on the market. So we've got this guy connected to the Alexander Equilibrium Deluxe, this black pedal over here. And so when we tap on this foot switch, it establishes the beats per minute, and it sets the Strymon devices to match that, so they lock right in. And then if you'll watch the black pedal over here, we're actually, when we tap in the new tempo, it sends 4 taps over to it, and that lets us tap into devices that have tap averaging. So some tap tempo devices will average the time between taps, and so sending them more than 2 taps is the best way to guarantee that they get the correct tempo. So when we tap, it receives 4 taps, locks into the new tempo, and it'll stay there until we need to go to the next section of the song or the next piece of music we're playing, the next tempo we need. Yeah.
Right, and what's the price tag on it?
This is the DMC Gen 4. The DMC Gen 4, DMC-4 Gen 3, and these are $209. And then we've got a smaller version, which is the 3XL, the DMC 3XL Gen 3, and those are $189.
Okay. And what are the differences between those two versions?
The 3 and the 4 have the same core functionality. How they differ is the 4 has this foot switch in the upper left, this hot switch, and the hot switch is assignable to about 8 different things. So it can act as a tap tempo, it can call up the tuner on something like an H9, it can load or save a favorite preset, it can use control the freeze, the latching freeze on the Strymon Big Sky for infinite reverb. We've got it set for tap on this, which is a pretty useful function for it, but it's capable of doing quite a bit more than that. Yeah.
And how do folks find out more about this?
They're all online at disasterareadesigns.com.
Thank you. And for more on what Premier Guitar is covering here at Summer NAMM 2016, go to premierguitar.com and look for Summer NAMM 2016. Check out all the videos from the floor.